going on, guys? Orm Swarm coming at you guys today with another video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the aftermath of yesterday's game. The Detroit Lions visiting the Chicago Bears up at Soldier Field. And the Lions won this game. 2 games in a row. 31-30 Detroit Lions. Putting the Lions at 3-6. Putting them third in the NFC North. And the Chicago Bears falling to 3-7. Putting them at the basement now. We turn the tables. They are 4th in their division in the NFC North. Dan Campbell gets his first road win as the Lions head coach. Congratulations to MCDC for finally getting that off his back, the monkey off his back, and getting that road win. That was a must win for the Detroit Lions. Now we're going to get right into this. We're going to get right into like some injuries. We had some injuries during this game. We lost safety Deshaun Elliott. This game had a concussion. Justin Fields completely railroaded him, destroyed him at the goal line, took him right into the end zone, and he was he looked like he was out cold at one point. Don't think he ever came back really. Then we lost Julian Okwara and defensive lineman Josh Pascal during the first half of this game with knee injuries. Pascal being the rookie. They came back, though. They at least returned. I don't think Deshaun Elliott ever returned from that. He was concussed, man. He was hurt. And then we, after this game, we did lose center Frank Ragnow. He's seen in a walking boot. We know that he's got that foot injury. We'll get more details on that as the week goes on. And then wide receiver Trinity Benson was seen with crutches after the game too. He went down pretty hard too. It looked like he was struggling to get off the field. He had to be helped off by 2 guys. At first, I thought it looked like he got poked in the face because I remember there was a penalty on the Chicago Bears where he went up to the guy's helmet and it was Trinity Benson, and it looked like he got his fingers in there, but he ended up going down with some type of foot or leg injury. Don't really know the severity of that, but he was seen with crutches after the game. Now, let's get down to the stats right away, guys. You know, we start away with the away team, so that's the Detroit Lions. And quarterback Jared Goff, he was 19 for 26, 236 yards, a touchdown, sacked a couple times, 73% completion percentage. Goff wasn't really bad this game. You know, I'm going to tell the truth here. I always try to at least tell the truth about these guys. He was efficient enough. He didn't try to throw away the game. It didn't seem like, you know, a couple bad throws here and there, but pretty efficient. He was pretty efficient. He had that one bad interception that was called back, and we'll talk about that later on, down in the Chicago Bears red zone by the rookie Jack Sanborn. But there was a penalty negating the interception. So that was the really bad throw that he had. I don't know what he was looking at, but other than that, 73%, like I said, completion percentage. He was pretty efficient. He wasn't great. He wasn't good. He wasn't bad either. He wasn't terrible. Just kind of efficient. Just kind of going through the motions, really. He was hitting a lot of short shots. Threw a couple balls over 20 yards, though, that were completed. A couple that weren't as well. But he wasn't bad. And then rushing, Jamal Williams led the charge with 16 carries, 59 yards, and a touchdown at 3.7 yards per carry. Goff was 4 carries for 14 yards. Justin Jackson, 4 carries for 14 yards. And then Swift was 6 carries for 6 yards. He had a couple. He did have a 9-yard touchdown, though, but he was stuffed a few times. So he only ended up with 6 yards. Don't really know what they're doing here with DeAndre Swift. It's a mystery to me what they're doing here. Don't know why they keep playing him if they're only going to limit him this much. But he is scoring. He has been scoring, so he scored, I think, 3 games in a row now. I'm pretty sure he has scored 3 games in a row. 1 was receiving, 2 have been rushing. But I don't really know what they're doing here. Are they trying to showcase him for next year? Because I just don't understand what they're really doing here. And then the receiving, Amon-Ra St. Brown, it looked like he's back. He had 10 catches for 119 yards on 11 targets. He looked like his old self. He looked like he was pretty explosive, and he had a couple nice run after the catches too. Khalif Raymond had 3 catches for 47 yards on 3 targets. Tom Kennedy had 1 huge catch for 44 yards, 2 targets. Brock Wright had 1 catch, 2 yards, and a touchdown. So tight ends getting involved again. And then Mitchell, James Mitchell, the rookie, he was targeted just once for 4 yards. Then defense, man, Aiden Hutchinson, the rookie out of Michigan, had a huge game, 8 tackles, a sack. He had a couple missed assignments, though. Justin Fields kind of made him look silly, but he kind of made everybody look silly yesterday. But Hutch had a great day, man. He made a couple big plays. Big, huge sack at the end of that game on a second or third down to take Fields down. It was a really nice play by him. He had a bunch of tackles. He was all over the field. He was playing a little more under control this game, trying to contain Fields as much as he could, even though, they just couldn't as a defense as a whole. But I thought he played a really excellent game with a couple missed assignments, but he was fantastic, Hutchinson. Alex Anzalone had 10 tackles. Will Harris had 6 tackles. Kirby Joseph had 7 tackles. He did not have a good game, though. Kirby Joseph made a couple big-time errors, especially in that Cole Kmet touchdown, on that long touchdown. But he, the rookie kind of came back down to earth, and that's fine. That's going to happen. Julian Okwara had a humongous game, too, as well. 3 tackles, 2 sacks. One of those sacks being the game-ending sack that kind of put it to bed there. 2 sacks on the day for Julian. Nice to see that. And then Jeff Okudah, man, he only had 1 tackle. He blanketed pretty much Chase Claypool the whole game. And then he had a pick, and then he had a touchdown. He had the pick 6. So he looked really good out there, doing what he's doing, man. He's improving every single week. And then the Bears stat line, quarterback Justin Fields, he was 12 for 20, 60% completion percentage, only threw for 167 yards. 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, 1 giant pick, actually, and then he was sacked like 3 times. Yeah, man, it's just his game is not throwing the football. It's very obvious his game is not throwing the football. And I'm not trying to throw any shade at this offense. Fields is electric, okay? Don't get me wrong, super electric, but they run a very, very basic offense. That RPO, it looks like when I was watching that game, he's so athletic, he's so fast, he's so big and fast. It's like watching high school. It was like watching a high school kid run. It was like watching a professional athlete running around with high school kids. Very basic, running the ball most of the time, and they ran the ball extremely well. But the throwing part, he did throw for a couple touchdowns. 12 for 20 at 60%. It's not his thing. When he has to throw a little bit more, you can see that he's not as comfortable throwing the football. It's just, if that kid gets this down, if he gets that down, the NFC North's in trouble. If Justin Fields figures it out. And who knows if he does, he's still young. But throwing the football is not his thing. Running the ball is. Rushing, Justin Fields led the charge again. 13 carries for 147 yards. 2 touchdowns at 11.3 yards per carry. He was a monster on the ground, unstoppable, broke all kinds of records yesterday doing that. He's something special running the football. And then Khalil Herbert had 10 rushes for 57 yards at a 5.7 yards per carry. David Montgomery had 9 carries for 37 yards on a 4.1 yards per carry. Herbert got hurt too as well too. Hip pointer or something like that, but he was hurt. I think it was a hip pointer. Don't quote me on that. But they had 250 plus yards on the ground or something like that. They were running all over the Lions. Something that I was completely afraid of that was going to happen, and it did happen. The number 1 rushing attack, man, and they are for a reason. Receiving, Cole Kmet had 4 catches for 74 yards and 2 touchdowns on 7 targets. He had a big touchdown, and then he had a shorter red zone catch as well that he had to kind of go up and get. It was kind of a poorly thrown ball, I thought, but Kmet went up and got it. Maybe he was thrown up there on purpose so he can get it like that, but it was a pretty nice catch. And then Darnell Mooney, he had 4 catches for 57 yards on 4 targets. Nobody really else did anything else in the receiving department. There was a couple catches here and there, but nothing to talk about. And then their kicker, Cairo Santos, he missed that 1 extra point. He was pretty good for the day, though, except that one big one And we'll get into that in a bit too later on because it was a huge missed extra point. Then their defense, linebacker Jack Sanborn, I kind of talked about him a little bit too. The rookie, 12 tackles, 2 sacks. You would have had a pick, but the Bears just kept having penalties all day, so it got negated. Then linebacker Nicholas Moreau, 6 tackles. Safety Jaquan Brisker, another rookie, 7 tackles. D lineman Dominique Robinson, 6 tackles. And then safety Eddie Jackson had 5 tackles. Their defense didn't make a lot of big plays. Chicago, obviously, with a lot of points being scored too, 20-something points. I think it was 24 points altogether that the offense scored on that Chicago D because we did get that pick 6 from our defense. So it was 20-something points right there, 24 points, and not a lot of great things came out of that Chicago defense. So we played pretty good in that department with that, and we'll talk about that in a bit as well. So it was just like this game, man. I'm going to talk the Lions O versus the Bears D. It was kind of what I wanted to see. I wanted to see them run a little bit more. They did rush. They did rush almost for over 100 yards. Didn't quite get there. They got pretty close. 69, 79, 81, 83, 45. They got pretty close. They might have been touching 100. I wanted them to run a little bit more on this team, but clearly you can tell that Jamal Williams is the front runner right here, right now, is for leading this team as the RB1. Like I said earlier, I don't know what they're trying to do with DeAndre Swift. I don't know why he's playing. I know he's a threat out there. He's basically a decoy. He gets an odd rush here and there, but he's been scoring touchdowns. 3 games, 3 touchdowns. One through the air, 2 on the ground. So he's getting that job done right there. But offensively, I thought Goff, like I said, was efficient. Jamal Williams did his thing, scoring another touchdown. He has a bunch of touchdowns on the year. It was a short one, but it was the game winner. And then, Amon-Ra St. Brown doing his thing with over 119 yards on a lot of targets. And then Khalif Raymond being that second kind of wide receiver that they were looking to, but he only got 3 targets. And then, Tom Kennedy had that big catch at the end of that game to extend the drive for 44 yards on a really nice catch and run, man, a short throw, and then he just kind of outran the coverage. They got pushed out of bounds eventually. But it was a beautiful throw and catch. Goff was okay. I thought Goff was okay yesterday. Can't complain about him. The only thing I don't like about him is that there's 2 things I can't stand about Jared Goff is that, he does have inconsistencies, that's for sure, but he's completely not mobile. Yeah, he did run for that 1 first down, I think, where he had 14 yards on the day for 4 carries. But it's just, he doesn't extend or create plays, and it just drives me nuts. And then his arm is, when he did that Hail Mary at the end of that first half, he put all his might into it, and he only threw it like 40, 45 yards. And he put all his might into that, man. He got leveled on that. So I gotta give him props for that because he took a beating on that hit. I forget who it was that hit him, but he got hit on that play. And the ball only went to the 10-yard line. I don't even know why they even attempted to make that Hail Mary throw. He wasn't throwing it into the end zone. He doesn't have that arm strength. That ball went 45 yards, maybe. So they got to be careful with that right there because they could have got him hurt. I don't think they even should have did it, but that's just whatever. Maybe they were trying to do a tip drill. Who knows what they were trying to do there? But I thought it was a little bit risky doing that with Jared Goff when he doesn't have that arm strength. But the offense, like I said, efficient enough to win the game. Scored about 20-something points, 24 points to be exact, and then the defense helped out, and we'll talk about that in a bit too. But the Detroit Lions, man, they put 21 points on the board in the fourth quarter. So came back from a 14-point deficit. People were literally on social media saying, done with this game. Going to go watch this game. Going to go watch the Minnesota-Buffalo game. Going to do this, going to do that. I'm going to go fold the dishes, like some people would say. But it was just one of those games where people were were completely tuning out. But we ended up winning this game. They ended a 13-game winless streak on the road. So, and they got that monkey off their back. So it was a must, man. Chicago with 9 penalties, 86 yards in penalties. And Detroit playing disciplined football for once and getting some lucky bounces. 2 penalties for like 15 yards. Take that all day. Like I'm not going to sit here and tell you that this was a great turning point win. I'm not going to lie to you. But they won the football game, and we'll take it right now. And then that Lions defense, obviously couldn't stop Justin Fields. It was a nightmare trying to stop that kid. But they tried to keep him in that pocket as much as they could. It was next to impossible. I thought Okudah played great. Kirby Joseph struggled. Hutchinson was an animal. He really showed up, man, with 8 tackles. He had a big play on the goal line. Where he just came out of nowhere, man, and just like took the running back down right by the neck. Great play. A big sack at the end of the game. Trying to contain Justin Fields as much as he can. And they didn't have a lot of game-breaking plays until the end of that game. And then with the Jeff Okudah interception, tying that game up at 24 at the time, I believe. They tied it up with Okudah. And if you watch that play too, it was going to be from the one angle. You've seen the one angle where Hutchinson was going up the pass rush. Kmet kind of squares up with him. The Kmet lets him go right away. And Hutchinson again, 2 weeks in a row he's done this. He read the play. He realized Kmet's letting me go in too easy. It was going to be a screen to Kmet. It was going to be a nice little screen to Kmet, but Hutchinson, being 6'6", 6'7", read the play, literally backed up, and he kind of blocked Justin Fields' vision there. So Fields kind of made this little jump throw. This little jump throw, tried to throw it, and it was just a terrible throw. Hutchinson, all 6'6", 6'7" of them, spread out. The ball was thrown. Okudah comes in, boom, takes it away. Runs in the end zone for about 10, 15 yards. I forget what it was, 20 yards, maybe less. I don't remember. But it was a touchdown, and it was a huge touchdown for the Lions. All of Chicago shut up. It was just completely, all the air got sucked right out of that stadium, and we were all tied up. So the defense made big plays at the end. Like I said, with the Hutch sack too as well, with the Okwara sack at the end too. We did have a sack earlier. But a couple guys on our defense made some plays. Nothing crazy. Okudah, Okwara, Hutch. Huge games for those guys. Those guys deserve game balls 100%. It was just, even though Fields ran all over them, Fields has been doing this, this is 2 weeks in a row for Fields where he's running like gangbusters. He's just a special kid with his legs. If that kid gets it together in the passing game, the NFC North's in trouble. I'm just letting you guys know that right now. That kid is almost, personally, watching him, almost out of Lamar Jackson type level. Already. But his throwing mechanics need a ton of work. He needs a ton of work throwing the football, and maybe he'll work on it this summer. I'm kind of hoping he doesn't. I'm kind of hoping this kid doesn't get that together, because if he does, like I said, NFC North's in trouble. The whole NFL's in trouble. And if they build around this kid properly, because he's a special talent. He really, really is. But he needs to learn those throwing mechanics 100%. But the defense stepped up at the end when they most needed to be. They didn't have a great game overall, but at the end, like I said, with those two big sacks, and then the pick six a little bit earlier in that game. But Lions won 31-30. A game that I got wrong. I thought the Bears were going to beat us. I knew it was going to be a close game. I said that we had a chance to win this game. And with Carlos Santos missing that extra point, that helped big time. We went down like a 91-yard drive, which was really well orchestrated by Jared Goff and that offense. Went up by 1. And the rest is history. We ended up making some big stops at the end of that game. Good win for the Detroit Lions. I'm not an ugly kind of win though, but 2 in a row. This is what you trying to go for. Doesn't mean this team has turned a corner. We'll start talking the P word maybe if they win one more game. I can't do it quite yet. I don't think they're going to. I really don't. But you got to start talking about it if they win the next game. On to the New York Giants this week coming up. The Giants are a pretty good ball club. They get it done by running the football and playing some defense. That's how that team gets it done. And we'll talk about that later. But hey, man, Lions win. They are now 3-6 going into next week, and they are not in last place in the NFC North. So good job, Lions, man. At least you got the dub, and you got 2 in a row. Let's work on the next one. Let's see what happens. Good job, Lions. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for watching the videos. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button in the bottom right. Don't forget to hit the notification bells going on my video. Don't forget to like, comment, share this out. What do you think? Big win for the Lions or just another SOL win? Thanks, guys. Boom. One pride, baby.